Welcome to DonBest.com. I am Frank Trigg. That is Nick Kalikas. This is the MMA Insider Show talking about UFC 153, Silva versus Bonnar. Co-main event and main event have been adjusted since the 153 had both cards cancel out. We lost 151. 153, both fights came off of this card, and we have to have a couple replacements. Nogueira versus Herman is the co-main event, and Stephan Bonnar versus Anderson Silva is the main event. Nick, let's talk about Herman and Nogueira first. How do you see this fight breaking down? Where do you see it going? Even before I get into the records of these two guys.
Well, right now the line is around Nogueira -3-1, so decent favorite for Nog. It's an interesting matchup, though. I'll tell you what. Technically speaking, everywhere, Nog's definitely better. He's a better striker. He's a better grappler. Wrestling might neutralize each other out a little bit, but I still think Nogueira is capable of getting Herman to the floor that way too. So Herman would use his wrestling to keep it on the feet. And I think on the feet, though, Herman has enough power at this stage in his career to make things interesting for Nogueira, man. I can't really trust a guy that's coming off a nasty arm injury like he did to the hands of Frank Mir. He was looking good before he got caught in that fight, but that was just a brutal injury. And before that, I mean, he's kind of a little bit older beyond his years. He's been in so many wars, so many great battles in MMA throughout his career that he was a little bit past his age at that point. So right now, man, with the time off, with the injuries, everything coming into play, there's no way I could lay the juice on a guy like Nogueira. Even though I have a ton of respect for him and the guy is definitely the better fighter, it's either dog here or pass.
And I have to agree with you because Herman comes in with an MMA record of 21-4, 15 wins via KO. Nogueira comes with an MMA record of 33-7 and 1 no contest, 20 wins via sub. I got to be honest with you. I think that Nogueira is too old. He's beyond his years. He's got a lot of old injuries, not to mention the new arm injury. Herman comes in. He's too much of a gamer, and it's a classic wrestler versus jiu-jitsu guy, but it's still Nogueira. So you have to kind of leave this one alone. I agree with you. Moving on to the main event, and this one is very interesting. Stephan Bonnar versus Anderson Silva. Bonnar, MMA record 15-7. 7 wins via sub. Silva, MMA record 32-4. Pound for pound, the best fighter in the world. But this is not a 5-round title fight. This is only a 3-round non-title fight because Anderson had to save the card because the main event and the co-main event that were originally scheduled fell off. This fight is going to be a little bit closer than people are going to think, but it won't surprise you if Nick tells me that it's 20-1, the odds.
You're close, man. Right now it's around 12-1, 1250 or so. It opened around 1350, and you know, betting public has come in a little bit more on Stephan Bonnar. Of course, we're expecting that, but it's going to balance out with parlays with Anderson Silva on the other side too. So the books are probably going to be pretty even on this fight overall. But man, I tell you what, I think Anderson Silva does have that kind of dominant edge on the feet. Bonnar has to get this fight to the floor, has to try to work his ground and pound and submission game to get the win here. I think he's going to struggle doing that. And on the feet, Anderson's so much better. He's going to be able to pick them apart, probably get a TKO stoppage due to cuts is what I'm thinking is going to happen because Bonnar's been busted up lately, and that scar tissue is not going to get any better. So I think he'll probably get stopped by cuts more than a clean knockout because Bonnar's so tough. But I think Anderson Silva is the way to go here inside the distance if you get a decent price.
You know what? I agree with you, Nick. I really think that these two fights you have to kind of leave alone, but they're both going to be exciting fights you have to watch. But the favorites are so far favored, you just can't really lay any money on them. But I might lay both the favorites in a parlay just because I think that Anderson's going to win. I'm not necessarily sure he's going to end within a distance. I think it might end up going the distance because Stephan can kind of hold on to him, grab a hold of him, slow him down a little bit. And then also we're talking about a weight difference and a size difference in Bonnar versus Anderson. Anderson's coming up to 205, and he hasn't had that much time to prepare. And then you're talking about Nogueira, who obviously is Nogueira. I think Herman's so tough, this fight will go the distance as well, but put both the favorites in a parlay. How do you think that will go for me, Nick?
Well, I think parlaying both might not be a bad idea. It's a little bit less risk, and you're going to get, it's going to bring down your risk factor period, and you're going to get more value. But it's still you're going to be laying some decent juice on both of those guys. I don't know if those are the two to parlay because, like I said, for Nogueira, it's his suspect chin and everything that's going on with him right now. I'm not sure how ready he is, so I would probably even avoid Nog in a parlay. So I wouldn't touch it.
Okay, well there you have it. That's Nick Kalikas in Costa Rica. I'm Frank Trigg in Las Vegas. This is DonBest.com.